Hey guys, we just had NAIC and we had some great decks come out of the tournament. Andrew Hedrick ended up winning the entire thing with Lost Box, which is really cool. His list looks really nice and I'm definitely going to be trying it out at some point. But the deck that I was really interested in was not the Lost Box, not one of the many Girafarig we saw do well at the tournament. No, the list I'm interested in is Pidgeot controlled by Allesandro cremascoli, or ICaterpie. He does have his own YouTube channel. If you want to check him out, his channel's linked down below. So, this is the list you're seeing on screen now. And yeah, I'm just going to go through and break everything down and share the uses I found for each card, why you run each card. It's a very cool list. Let's get into it. First thing, the 202 Pidgeot line. I don't think I need to explain why you run the 202 Pidgeot line. 202 is like the standard, 202 and 2 Rare Candy. That's like what every Pidgeot control list runs. The only interesting thing here is the 50 HP Pidgey as opposed to the 60 HP. I've seen a lot of top players go to 60 HP Pidgeys recently in something like basically any deck with Pidgeot. They'll mainly go to the 60 HP Pidgeys. Most notably, I believe Tordoreklev's Charizard Dragapult list played two 60 HP Pidgeys as opposed to two 50 HPs. And in this deck, I think it's so important to run your 50 HP Pidgeys because Cool for Family is such a good attack. You know, since you don't run any Poffin because you don't really need to, Cool for Family is just such a good attack in the early game. It's just such a good attack. I do think that running those two Pidgeys are very good. Next up, Frigorough. So, Armor Tail. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. So, it auto wins the Raging Bolt Ogerpon matchup, which is the most played deck online. They physically can't hit it unless they run either Sandy Shocks or Cornerstone Ogerpon. I haven't seen many lists running Cornerstone Ogerpon, even though I do think it's a solid card. Cornerstone Ogerpon's attack hits through effects on your opponent's Pokemon, so it will be able to hit through this. If they reveal Baby Sandy Shocks and they don't play Cornerstone Ogerpon, Dirty Beam just one-hits it. It's as simple as that. If they put Bravery Charm on it, you find Lost Vacuum, you vacuum the Bravery Charm away, you one-shot it. If they leave it on the bench and you have already gotten rid of Lost Vacuum or something, Dirty Beam, the active, put that 30 damage onto the benched Sandy Shocks, and yeah, Dirty Beam is then in range. You have so many answers to anything that Raging Bolt Ogerpon will run to beat this thing. They can't. Next up, Chi-Yu. You only actually run one Fire Energy, so you are at risk of prizing that. Double Heavy Ball, so you don't really have to worry about prizing the Chi-Yu. We'll move on to that later though. If your opponent's choosing to be difficult, Chi-Yu is a great answer. Next up, Water Ogerpon. This is just a replacement to Morwile, and I'm actually not a fan of Water Ogerpon. I actually like Morwile still. Allesandro clearly doesn't agree with me. Neither do most of the control players I've talked to about this. You need to get a double turbo on it if you're going to start sobbing. You don't need to do it straight away because you can afford to leak some damage, but especially if it's something small like a Manaphy, you kind of need to get this double turbo pretty quickly so that you're not going to eventually knock it out with Sob and then they can just go into something else and start attacking again. And then you also run one Water Energy in the deck just so you can play Torrential Pump, which is a very good aggressive attack. It's basically the only reason you prefer it over Morwile, that and the extra HP. Torrential Pump 100, and then if you shuffle all the energy off it into the deck, it does 120 to one of your opponent's benched as well. Luxray V is said to be the best card in Pidgeot control by a lot of good players. Fang Snipe is just an incredible attack early game to just give your opponent a hard time. Blood Moon Ursaluna is basically like a second Radzard. 240 damage is very good, even if you double turbo it. 220 damage is still pretty relevant. You're one-shotting pretty much every basic V, quite a lot of basic EXs. Very nice. Rotom and Luminion are just there for consistency. Radiant Charizard is just there to take out... It's the same reason as Blood Moon Ursaluna. Just if you need to take out something that's being a bit too aggressive. You can suddenly go aggressive with this deck very quickly and just turn on the jets and, you know, go your Radiant Charizard, go your Blood Moon Ursaluna. Next up, Bouffalont. Again, if you can get Bouffalont going quickly, it can just auto win certain matchups. If you lost zone enough energy, they just can't play the game. Especially because, you know, quite a lot of decks will run very small energy counts nowadays. If you're against a deck that runs Iron Hands and you're worried about Iron Hands, you can Lost Headbutt away their lightning energy and they can't really do anything. Sandshrew is made to stop them recovering plays, kind of, you know, super rodding back things and going back in. Mimikyu basically just auto wins certain matchups because it doesn't take damage from EX or V. If your opponents get too greedy with benching and evolving into EXs and Vs, you just go Mimikyu and you can auto win. You also run 1 Psychic Energy, not only for the Farigiraf, but also for the Mimikyu. It can start attacking as well if need be. On to the trainers, we have Quad Arven. I don't really need to explain why you run Quad Arven. You can grab Cape, you can grab Bravery Charm, and in the early game, there's a really neat play, which is Luminion. You grab Arven, you Arven to find Rare Candy and Forest Sealstone, you use Sealstone onto the Luminion and search for a Pidgeot, and 1 Luminion / 1 Arven will get you a Pidgeot. So Arven is a really good card in this list. 3 Penny. Penny looping is one of the reasons you can afford to go aggressive with Pidgeot control. Silene kind of lets you just get anything you want back. If you get Devos on 2 Pidgeots, you can get your rare candies back. If you want to kind of deck your opponent out, but your deck's also running quite thin, you bring back your Power Pads, and then you Power Pad back Silene, and you have this endless loop as long as you carry on flipping heads. Silene's very, very good. Eerie is a one-off. If you can catch your opponent off guard with an Eerie, you can kind of just win games there and then. Like double rare candy, Mirage Gates, Super Rods are all pivotal catches with Eerie. 1 Boss's Orders in the early game, or when you're playing more aggressive and your opponent's kind of slacking. It's, yeah, Boss's Orders is Boss's Orders. Thornton is really nice because it keeps turns in play on the new active. So you can have a play where like you've had a Rotom that's in play for ages, and then you can just like Thornton, swap it with a Pidgey or a Girafarig, and then evolve it. And it catches your opponent really off guard. Thornton's a great card. 1 Iono to get you out of bad hands. 1 Rosianne to get things like your Hero's Cape back. 1 Pokemon back, your Double Turbos, your Mists back that you otherwise can't recover. 4 Nest Balls because you want to be able to find stuff. 3 Ultra Balls because you want to be able to find stuff. 3 Counter Catches because quite a lot of the time with this deck you're going to be behind on prizes. So to have that item card boss is very good. 3 Power Pads to get all of your supporters back. 2 Rare Candies to get your Pidgeots out. 2 Heavy Balls. This is interesting. 2 Heavy Balls in a list with quite a lot of basics. I've tried out 2 Heavy Balls. Feels very, very good, actually. 2 Heavy Balls, I think, could become a new norm in Pidge control. It's just, there's a lot of the time where you'll prize 2 basic Pokemon or more that you really, really want. And the ability to grab both of them with Heavy Ball is really good. 1 Lost Vacuum to, you know, remove your opponent's tools. It also lets you, like, swap out your own Bravery Charm with a Hero's Cape, or swap out your own Forest Sealstone with a Hero's Cape after you've used it. 1 Super Rods to recycle your Pokemon and recycle your basic energy. 1 Switch Cart. I've had debates over what's better, Switch Cart or a normal Switch, because Farigiraf EX can get trapped pretty easily, and having to discard 2 energy, not great, but I do kind of think Switch Cart is better. 2 Bravery Charms to buff up your basic Pokemon a bit. 1 Sealstone to grab any card in the deck before you get Pidgeot going, or even have, when you do have Pidgeot going, if you still have it spare, and the ability to grab 2 cards on 1 turn is even better. 1 Hero's Cape. The Ace Spec's an interesting one because I've seen a lot of Pidgeot control builds, especially at NAIC, run Survival Brace. If your Pokemon is on full HP and it is knocked out, it's not knocked out, it goes down to 10 HP and discards Survival Brace. Survival Brace does feel very good, especially for things like penny looping, I guess. If your opponent, quite a lot of the time your opponent will go for a very small hit to break the Survival Brace, and then you can just penny loop it back. 1 Lost City to remove key pieces, similar to the Sandshrew. 2 Double Turbos actually, because there are quite a few Pokemon that can use Double Turbo, notably Pidgeot, notably Farigiraf, Water Ogerpon, Luxray, Ursaluna quite a lot of the time, Luminion potentially, Bouffalon definitely, and maybe even Mimikyu. It doesn't take away from Mimikyu's damage, because Ghost Eye places damage counters. 1 Psychic for the Mimikyu and the Farigiraf, 1 Water Energy for the Water Ogerpon's Torrential Pump, and also Luminion if you're feeling desperate, 1 Fire Energy for Chi-Yu and Radzard, and 1 Mist Energy to block TM Devo, but it also blocks things like Frenzy Gouging. So that's the list. Might drop some gameplay with it at some point if this video does well. Yeah, thanks for watching.